On average, the Kansas Jayhawk basketball team creates more revenue for the University of Kansas per home game than the Oklahoma City Thunder. Today, I am going to talk to all of you about the injustice collegiate athletes are faced with today, and how universities around the country are profiting in spite of working for a supposedly non-profit organization. College athletes provide a great service and source of income to the universities they attend, and they should be compensated accordingly. I have been an avid fan of both professional and collegiate sports my entire life, and know the business side of sports. I have done in-depth research on this topic that includes talking to major ticket offices and reading many articles from the NFL, NBA, and ESPN that include the likes of highly respected analysts such as Jay Biles. First, I am going to talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder and compare them to the Kansas men's basketball team. The NBA has 15 players on their active roster, with each team having a salary cap of $58 million per team. This means that the average player can make up to $3.87 million if the full salary cap is reached. The Thunder bring in an average attendance of 18,203 fans, with the average ticket price for a game being $35. This means that the Thunder create just over $700,000 per game. And with 41 home games a year, this creates an annual revenue of $28.7 million just from ticket sales. So this doesn't include concession sales, merchandising such as apparel, and revenue created from televising the games, or revenue created in both the pre- and postseason. I am now going to compare these numbers to the University of Kansas basketball team. Not one of their players on the team is financially compensated. The average attendance is 16,300 fans, with the average ticket price being $55. This means that the Jayhawks create just under $900,000 per home game. That is almost $200,000 more than the Thunder per game. With 19 home games a year, this creates an annual revenue of $17 million just from ticket sales. How many of you own a KU jersey? What are they, like $50 each?
Yes.
And the University of Kansas, and the university is selling to those players' jerseys without giving them a dime. Basketball isn't the only sport that takes advantage of collegiate athletes. Now let's take a look at football. I am now going to compare the professional football revenue and compensations to that of collegiate programs. There are 53 players on an active NFL roster, with each team having a salary cap of $123 million. That means that the average player can make up to $2.3 million if the salary cap limit is reached. The Chiefs have an average attendance of 68,508 people, with an average ticket price for a game being at $38. This means that the Chiefs create $6.85 million per game. With 8 home games a year, this creates an annual revenue of $54.8 million just from ticket sales. So this doesn't include concession sales, merchandising such as apparel, revenue created from televising the games, or revenue created in both the pre- and postseason. The Jayhawk football team has no players that are financially compensated. The KU ticket office stated that the average ticket sales, notice how I didn't say attendance, is 41,328, with the average ticket price for a game being $52.5. This means that the Jayhawks create $2.17 million per home game. With 6 home games a year, this creates an annual revenue of $13 million just from ticket sales. Now that we have gone over the numbers, let's talk about the players. Many people would argue that the collegiate athletes should be compensated, including myself. But let's see what a highly respected college basketball analyst has to say about it. These are the words of Jay Biles. There is no benefit for an athlete to remain an amateur because it does not make them a better teammate or does not make them a better student or person. It was feared that once amateurism left the Olympics, it would be the death of it. However, now the Olympics are more profitable than ever before. The rest of us attending a university are not restricted to receive payments for our talents. Are any of you tutors?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say tutors are compensated for their abilities?
Yeah.
It is amazing to me that the NCAA restricts the payment of athletes for their own non-for-profit gains. Imagine how big of a pay cut the NCAA officials would take if the college athletes did receive compensation for what they did. Maybe greed is the driving force behind it all. In conclusion, first I talked about the differences in revenue and compensation between collegiate and professional basketball. Next, I talked about the differences in revenue and compensation between collegiate and professional football. And finally, we looked inside the mind of a well-respected analyst and his thoughts on compensating collegiate athletes. College athletes provide a great service and source of income to the universities they attend, and they should be compensated accordingly. Thank you.